I really like atmospheric music, and that's why in this tutorial I will show you how to add atmosphere to any track, thanks to a pad that you have heard before. In this case it's a very simple pad, consisting of only 3 layers. I suggest you listen to the story about each layer. And so here we have the sound obtained from a sample that is in one of the most charming, magnificent, wonderful, surprising, uplifting, harmonizing packs in the whole world, the Mood Drill pack. It sounds like this. And the magic happens when we add the Magic Chord plugin. It adds 3 more notes to the main note, 4, 7, 11 semitones higher. And if you draw the note F3 in a MIDI clip, then this construction will sound like this. Adding a sample is simple. Either put it in this window or just drag it to the MIDI track. Select the sampler mode. Then push this button called loop back and forth, so that you can play the sample like a pad without stopping. And for smooth playback, you need to add crossfade near the borders. In the filter tab, I've slightly lowered the high frequencies. Then there is a hybrid reverb, which works only in shimmer mode without using the convolution section. At the same time, I set the pitch to -12 semitones. It adds low frequencies to the reverberation. Then I drastically lowered the bottom and top of the sound, removed the resonating frequencies, and narrowed the width of the sound. That's the layer, and that's how it sounds. On the second layer is a wavetable. The piano wave from the instrument set is selected here. The sound is raised 1 octave higher. The filter type is PRD, 24 decibels per octave. The signal volume has been increased. At the same time, the position of the filter changes thanks to this LFO, to which I assigned the filter in the matrix. Noise mode is selected in unison, 3 voices and 30%. The chord is also used here, but note that different velocity values are indicated in the notes. This also affects the sound, gives different shades to the sound at different velocity values. Then I decided to carefully shape the sound that I needed, so there are a lot of equalizers here. Multiple equalizers allow you to form the sound better than one equalizer. Then the sound was amplified, and additional harmonics were added to the sound thanks to the pedal. Then the equalizer again, and hybrid reverb with a -12 semitones shimmer. Sound saturation with the pedal again, equalization again. Then again the hybrid reverb, then another equalization and amplification of the sound with the help of the utility. And then the most final equalization using 3 equalizers and slight sound amplification. The note F2 is indicated in the MIDI clip. And that's what this layer sounds like. And finally the third layer. There is a drift here. The first oscillator has a wave shape similar to a mountain. On the second, as so, the octave of both oscillators is the same. Slightly added detuning, and in order to give the sound movement, I assigned LFO to the shape. It looks like this. Then I made a frequency correction of the sound so that only the lower frequencies would sound. Stereo mode is selected by 31% and a drift parameter is added. The sound is also formed using a chord with different velocity values. Next is my favorite equalization. And to give an unusual character to the sound, I added a spectral resonator. The keynote of the track is selected here. I've set the high frequency damping to almost 100% and increased the low frequency damping. Added unison. At the same time, the dry wet value is at 40%. I suggest you listen to the spectral resonator and without. Next, an equalizer, saturation of the sound with harmonics from distortion, and final equalization for a better fit into the mix. I decided to increase the sound width. In the MIDI clip the note is F2. As for the processing of the entire group, there is a well-coordinated work of equalizers for cleaner sound formation. There is also an auto filter that opens and closes the upper frequencies during the sound of the pad. I've manually automated this frequency correction, and the width of the sound is increased with the help of a utility. This is how a pad of 3 layers turns out. Let me remind you how it sounds. By the way, this template will be available on my Patreon for some time, so don't deny yourself the pleasure of subscribing and taking possession of this atmospheric source of ideas for your tracks. See you in the next lessons! The producer was woken up by Pigeon, who mistakenly brought a letter addressed to the organizer of the holidays, who lives in that city. The producer decided to take the letter to the address. As a result, having found the organizer, the producer had to reveal the secret of his name, because the organizer asked the producer what his name was. The producer didn't know how to lie, and he honestly replied that his name was Max. For this, he forced the organizer to confess his name. He replied, "Big Jack." Max handed the letter to Big Jack, and that's how they met. In the process of communication, Max had the idea to organize a music festival. Big Jack supported this idea, but he didn't know how to advertise in this city, because he himself liked the producer in this city recently. The producer decided to go home and think about how to be in such a situation. The organizer also decided to think at home about what needs to be done, and to cheer up he decided to listen to System of a Down. To do this, he went to a music store, and for some reason a video was shown on TV in this store.